Hello, so I'm Eden, I'm French, I'm 24, a man, well, most of the time. And I live in many places, and I was lately studying in China. And I would like to introduce my interest with a little story. So last week, my French accent and I went to a bar and asked for Coke. So the barman made me repeat several times, laughing hard. And I was obviously asking for Coca-Cola, but not even in a bar context, his thoughts were sexually oriented. And that's exactly what interests me. Latent thoughts, sex, relationship between people, desirability, the interaction based on the desire and the satisfaction of desires. I try to think at all the ways society and history influence our intimate behavior. How is it related to art and design? My practice is based on research. I would like, through my images, to create an easy entry in theoretical thought. I ask questions to me, to the spectators, and my goal is not to find answers, but to think together. It could be related to politically engaged graphic design, questioning the society with simple images and messages. What I like most in that is that these posters were made for spectators who don't need a strong visual culture to understand. My work is more intimate and melancholic. In this edition, I used the absurd, creating weird bodies to show the constant presence of sexual energy. I think that the absurd is helping to integrate the world of imagination and to project ourselves into a tale. Kind of like when we read. Artists like Tom de Pekin use the same energy with similar problematics. I love how his characters wander in sexual limbo, always re-questioning the world surrounding us, from the vision of sports to fetish. What is behind the work is what interests me most. I like artists and authors who dare to show and rethink society, who often put themselves in risks and break the rules. They make us see. Kind of like the work of Catherine Millet. She is an art critic who, in her 40s, dared to write a book where she exposed her sexual stories taking place in her bourgeois and conservative society, with a lot of details and no boundaries or limits. Through her personal experiences, she made us face our inner walls and our fears. Bataille triggers the same emotion in his books. He exaggerates the fantasy until it becomes a nightmare. He sees in stars, sex, and in his mother the base of all his vices. Aren't we all? It is thanks to his writings that I started using the absurd. Many have asked me how I was using this abstract theme in plastic creation. I tried in this work to think about the use of pornography. We watch pornography in intimate moments, thinking that when we shut our computers, no one will ever know. I try to represent graphically the imprints left by these movies in our mind. I lead the spectators to face mental pictures. No need to put much here for everyone imagining the scene. But for each of us, the representation will be different. My images are a result of a lot of research. This is what interested me in the work of the American artist Kara Walker, questioning color through a wide type of media. Illustration, sculpture, the concept was more important than the form. I love to use different tools to represent my interests. With photography, I tried to coach the sexualization of schoolgirls in Japan. But sometimes I wonder if experimenting helps me to find what is best, or does it prevent me to specialize? As I said, I've lived in China, in Wuxi more precisely. I took this opportunity to travel a lot in Asia. I spent the last year in 5 countries, but mostly in China and Japan. During 2 months, I traveled in the most inaccessible part of China. I met the Mossos here, one of the last society in the world where the women are ahead of the community and have always been. They have any numbers of lovers they want and decide everything. I'm sure you all heard about gender theories and how we build gender. That was for me the most amazing experience to really see how it influenced our daily life, how society raised us to be men or women and to act accordingly to our gender. It is for me essential to understand, to be able to deconstruct. As you can see, I take inspiration from my work from daily life experiences, like bodybuilding, by example. I must not have been the only one shocked by the number of muscular bodies lying on the beach this summer. Basically, these techniques were used by minorities to be accepted by society. How and why is it changing interests me. This cult of beauty makes me think about beauty standards in many Asian countries. As in much of the world, beauty is sadly based on a white people. Through dating apps, by example, you can see how the beauty standards are a social construction and how colonialism influenced it. Marina Abramovic worked with such questions, with a tool I would like to dare. Her body was her way to share with the audience and think with them. I like this notion of exchange and equality. So yeah, I think you have a pretty good idea of who I am, what interests me, critical thinking, critical doing, and I'm totally open to discussion. Cheers.